Baby, you're a stitch man. Baby, you're a stitch man. Baby, you're a stitch man. Duh. Woo-hoo-hoo.
Good morning, Flosstube. How is everybody today? Great! Now let's spend the next hour talking about me. It's been 2 weeks since my last video. I've been productive. I did a lot of things. I'm feeling good. I'm feeling ridiculous. I feel like we shouldn't waste too much time today, and we'll just jump in and get started. I will say right off the bat though, I hope this doesn't turn into a thing, but I don't know what's happening this morning, but I've spent the entire morning so far constantly sniffing and sneezing and dripping, and I don't know. It seems at bay right now. I hope I can keep it under control for the next hour. But apologies in advance if I sneeze all over you. I'll try to edit that stuff out. Or not. Maybe I'll just leave it in. Look at this hair. Look how ridiculous this hair is getting. I considered over the last couple of weeks getting a haircut because it was getting kind of like, I was getting kind of annoyed by it. But then when the moment came, I had a complete reversal and a complete change of heart. And instead of being annoyed by it and wanting it to go, I decided I'm going to let it grow as big and as poofy as I can possibly grow it until I really get annoyed by it. It's been a lot longer than this in the past. So this is nothing compared to where it's going to be if I keep it going. What do you think? Should I, maybe I should just leave, maybe I should cut it down to just this. How about just this? I don't know. Here, look at this. Look at this guy. Let's get back to this. Wouldn't we all love that? So welcome back. Welcome everybody. Welcome to everybody who is here every time, and welcome to anybody who might be here for the first or second time. I don't know. My last video got more views in the first 2 week period than is generally typical for me, and a whole bunch of new subscribers. I mean, like 100 plus have come over since then, and I attribute most or all of that to the amazing kindness and shout out and words, the words from his mouth, the speak hole that came from Chris at Chris CrossStitch. I know that a lot of you are here because he said such nice things about me, and I hope you don't get too freaked out. I had these like, I had this huge chuckle just thinking about people who don't know me at all and have never watched me and are coming here because they're coming from Chris. It's like Mr. Rogers in Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood, and it's like I had these visions of like actual Mr. Rogers. Just picture it, Sicily, 1939. Mr. Rogers sitting there in his Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood talking about his friend Johnny and how what a nice boy Johnny is, and Johnny's just the kindest, the gentlest. You gotta go check out Johnny. I just love my neighbor Johnny. You gotta go see him. So everybody's like, oh, Johnny sounds like such a nice boy. Let's go check out Johnny. So you go and you click over, and this is what you find.
I'm Johnny Knoxville. Welcome to Jackass. Whoa!
Get him away, Mr. Rogers! Why did you do this to me? Anyway, I don't want to get stuck in an infinite Flosstube loop of thank you for talking about me. No, thank you for talking about me. No, thank you. No, thank you. I mean, we can do that on and on forever if you want, but so thank you. Thank you for talking about me, and thank you for saying such nice things about me, Chris, and thank you for being my buddy and my friend, and for allowing me to get to know you. I know I seem ridiculous, and I know that we seem kind of mismatched, but we're not really. We're cut from the same cloth, just completely different sides of it, right? I need to say a quick hello and shout out to my friend Hillery, who came back to Flosstube after all these years. She used to have a Flosstube channel called Rustic Threads a couple of years ago and hasn't done any videos since. But she did a couple of days ago. She came back and she did another video, and she's back. Hopefully, I hope that wasn't just a one-time thing. I hope that you're back regularly now, because it was great, and it's great to see you back. Hillary is the one that did this for me, the stupid tumor Sal edit thing that I did for Betsy that was small enough to manage. Hillary did that for me. So thank you for that. Thank you for coming back. What? I don't know why I do this to myself. I just write people's names out. Hillery. It would be helpful if I wrote down something to say before I turn this camera on. So anyway, Hillery, if you were subscribed to her old channel and maybe still are, she started a new one. So it's not the same thing anymore. But I'll put a link to it below if you want to go check her out and resubscribe and welcome her back. And it's great to see her. Welcome back. Thanks for this. Can I turn this off now? I also wanted to say a real quick salute and shout out to some of my teacher FLOSSTUBE friends, because I realized like recently that like I was, where's this person hasn't posted a video in a while, and this person hasn't posted a video in a while, and where have you been, and are you doing okay, and sending these messages. And I realized that a lot of them are school teachers and that's where they've been. And I can only imagine, like, right into the heart of October, how teachers must be losing their minds. Or maybe not. I mean, you must be a teacher because you love being a teacher, but I would be losing my mind. So, like, it's understandable that you've been away for a while and are super busy. And, like, I just wanted to let you all, I'm thinking specifically of Kaylee and Noah and Alyssa. I know there are lots of others. I don't want to just single 3 people out, even though I just did. But I just can't even. Like I've said to Melissa a couple of times when we're getting the kids ready to go out for the day, we have 3 of them. And I was like, can you imagine if instead of sending these 3 out, we were welcoming 25 more in every single day? I would just like, I can't even imagine. I don't know how you do it. I feel like I would just be like, Don Draper sitting in a bar being all grumpy, like,
you keep it down. I'm trying to drink.
That's me. That's me as a school teacher. So I don't think I would last a day. So hats off to all of you who do it as your entire career. And when you find time to make another video, just know that we all miss you and salute you. And isn't this sappy? Don't we just love this? So for the last couple of times of me sitting here filming this, at this point, Stitch Lady Melissa had already had her segment filmed and ready to go, so I knew it was coming. As of this moment, she has not done that, and I'm not sure if we're gonna have time to do that before I upload this. So I don't know. It would be unfortunate if not, because she's got 2 awesome finishes and a really exciting new start to show, like to the point where, like, I even said to her, I don't know how I'm gonna like just keep cutting you down to like 5 or 6 minutes. You might need your own channel if you want to really like do it properly. But anyway, it's a mystery as of this moment. Did we get that going or did we not? Let's do the little intro and let's see what we've got. Okay, so if you're watching this right now, that means there's no Stitch Lady Melissa this week, which is unfortunate because the finishes that she finished are really awesome. Even the witch that she was working on right here is finished, and it looks awesome. But I'll leave that for her to show, and I'll leave that for her to talk about next time, hopefully. But it just occurred to me while I was sitting here thinking about it that like, here's a good opportunity for a complete tangent about witches, because while she was working on that witches were on my mind, and she went into the bathroom to like do whatever she was doing in the bathroom, bathroom things, and I followed her in there riding on a broom because that's what I do. That's what it's like. That's what it's like living with me. Sometimes I fly around the house on a broom. But as I was doing it, I had this really like dead serious thought and conversation about witches and wizards flying on brooms. And like, if you were a witch or a wizard and you could fly on a broom, why would you choose to do that? Like, it just doesn't seem like the broom is a very convenient mode of transportation. Even if that's what you can do, then why wouldn't you? Because even if you can do that, it's really wobbly and it's really uncomfortable. Wouldn't you rather fly around with something with a seat, like put a seat on the broom, or fly around on a bike, or like? Does this occupy anybody else's thoughts? Why a broom? Why fly on a broom even if you could? It just seems so inconvenient. All right, let's get into it. Let's get to the whips. I didn't do as much as I said I was going to do. I was a little bit too ambitious with my predictions, but I did do quite a bit. So let's get into it. Let's start with Deck the Halls. Listen, do you hear that? Kaylee's gonna sing for us.
Deck the halls with boughs of Darcy, fa la 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 la. This is what it looked like last time, fa la 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 la. Look at all this great progress, fa la 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 la. Darcy's cell game is flawless, fa la 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 la.
And here's what it looks like today. Look at this, it's almost done. Wrap presents. I did the thing that I said I was gonna do. It wasn't done at all last week, and it's done this week. So there's only one more thing to go down here, and then that means it's Christmas. Aren't we all excited about that? Doesn't it still kind of feel like it's summertime? It's not, it's Christmas. So it's quite possible, and even like quite likely, that the next time I sit here, this is gonna be finished, and I'll have a finish. It won't be a whip anymore, it'll be a finish. And that'll mean it'll be time to start decorating for Christmas. Woohoo! This has been a lot of fun to work on, way more than I kind of expected. It had been a long time since I'd done anything like this up until this point, but I've really been liking it, and I might do others similar. Like, I don't know, I'd kind of turned into like a heaven and earth full coverage snob over the last few years, and thinking that like, well, I can't go back, like as if this is going back. It's not going back. Just because I'm not doing something that's humongous, full coverage, heaven and earth, doesn't mean that it's somehow a step backwards. I don't know why I thought that. I feel stupid for ever thinking that, because I've really been enjoying this, and the things that I've done that are not as big or full coverage as I normally would be doing, and I want to do more of this stuff and that stuff, and look, my horizons have been expanded. One thing about this that I always forget to mention is that it's a stitch along that was started, or at least came to me from Joe from Belushi Stitches and Emma from Emma X Stitching, and even though there's only one part left, I would say that if you like it and you want something like this hanging up for Christmas, that even though it's mid-October or even late October, whatever the date is today, it's still not too late, because depending on how many things you've got on the go, if I was only doing this, I don't know how long it would have taken, but probably no more than 2 weeks, maybe less than that. So like each section has only taken me, I don't know, 2 days, 2 times 6, 12 days total to do the whole thing. So if you have got nothing else on the go and you wanted a fun looking thing for Christmas, you could probably get this done in 2 weeks or less. So it's not too late. It's not too late. It's never too late. So the one whip that I said I was going to make significant progress on that I didn't work on at all was Chessie, which is unfortunate because I really want to finish the page that I'm working on. But the reason that I didn't get to Chessie is because I spent so much time and attention getting back to this lovely lady right here. Can you see her? Can you see her? I don't know why this is so small. This is Alice in a Dali dream. Let's see if we can figure out, because it's been so long since I've even shown it, where was I last time? How's that for a reference? Huh? Did you like that? You didn't know that I was so well versed in art and film history, did you? Did you? Did you?
Hello, I'm Johnny Knoxville. Welcome to Jackass.
Next week's lesson, a brief history of Ingmar Bergman. Anybody in the mood for a nice friendly game of chess? I'm an old man and I eat strawberries. Give me another Academy Award. Stop crying. stop the nonsense. Here's what Alice looks like right now. Look at that. Look at her. Look, I did that whole, look. I did the whole thing. You know, the thing that was empty and now it's not empty anymore. I did that. You can see her, her hair, and you can see her forehead, and it's looking like stuff. And this has been stuck in this position in this Q-snap for, I don't know, 3 months now at least. So the time to unsnap it and let her stretch her legs a little bit. maybe iron her and get some of the dirt off and move this thing over so we can continue on. It doesn't it look awesome? It already looks awesome. You can't even see her face. You can't even see the rest of the Salvador Dali art. You can't see anything except this and hair and forehead, and it already looks awesome. I forgot how much I loved working on this. I'd just been like, well, okay, I'm doing Jacob's thing now. I'll squeeze in Chessie when I can, and I kind of neglected this. And I was reminded when I was working on it how much I love working on this and how much I love seeing it come together. So I feel like this is going to get a lot of love and attention over the next little while now that I'm back into it, because it's fun and it's exciting and I love it. Don't you just love it? Don't you just love it? And one last thing, Jacob Modern Folk Embroidery 2021 Stitch Along. What did it look like the last time I sat here? Let's find out.
Fruits of plenty. That's the stitch along from Jacob of Modern Folk Embroidery. Stitchman Darcy. He is really going to catch up with this all. It's plain to see.
And here's what it looks like as of today. Can I fit it all in one shot? Probably not. There it is. Look, there's only that much left. 2 more parts, and this is going to be done too. I'm going to have more finishes this year than I have in probably, for real, the last 8 to 10 years. more this year. Just this year. Look at this. And this is a pretty big one. This is a significant finish. Okay, now, before we say anything else, do you notice anything about this? If I do this and you see this up top and you see this on the side and then I get all the way down here, do you note? Actually, it's not as dramatic as I thought it was, but I joked here. Hang on, I'm going to have to fold this up a little bit. I joked, quote unquote, last week that the blank space that was left here didn't look like it was as big as the other parts, and I hoped that I had measured it right and had actually had room to fit this on here. And I was joking, but there was a brief moment of panic as I was stitching this where I really, for real, thought that this wasn't going to fit and I had done something wrong. And I was counting down to my Q-snap, and I was like well into like, uh-oh, I'm already at the Q-snap and I'm not anywhere near done counting yet. What's happening right now? What have I done? It was a real moment of panic. So it ended up being okay, but this is significantly less extra space than I normally like to leave, because you can see on every other side there's at like 3 inches. 3 inches is about right, of like sometimes even 4, but 3 is about minimum for the extra space on the edges that I like to leave, and that's only 1.5 inches. Now, how did that happen, you ask? Well, I'm so glad you asked, because I'm going to tell you the tale. I know what your first instinct probably is about how a thing like that could happen, and it was the exact same as my first instinct. Obviously, Jacob did something wrong, right? That's what you were thinking. That's what I was thinking. Jacob messed up. As much as I would enjoy sitting here telling you that this was Jacob's fault and Jacob did something wrong, kings don't make mistakes like that. So, I double checked everything, and of course, as usual, Jacob was 100% bang on. There's absolutely nothing about this that you can blame on Jacob. So I guess next logical conclusion is that I did something wrong. As impossible, illogical, unfathomable as that is, that I might have done something wrong, I have to at least put forward the possibility that this might have been my fault. So for a couple of days, I had kind of resigned myself to like, okay, I guess I just measured wrong, or I guess like I've never done that before. I've never done that before. Never. So as hard as it was for me to believe that I did it this time, I guess in theory, it's possible that I made a mistake. I will have to admit that even though I had kind of resigned myself to, okay, it was my fault, there's a little nagging voice in the back of my head that didn't believe that. There's no way I did something wrong. It couldn't have happened. So I did a little bit of investigating just to like, I needed answers. I really needed an answer about like how or why this could happen. It was exactly the way that I expected it to be everywhere else except right here. How and why did I do that? How did that happen? And as it turns out, as we already knew, it wasn't because of something that I did wrong. It is because, here, look at this. This is on 18 count. And you can all double check my work if you want. But on 18 count at 300, and like I know I can't fit this all in. This is ridiculous, but 382 stitches high on 18 count. That means that this finished area right here should be 21.2 inches. Go ahead and double check my work. 18 count, 382 stitches, 21.2 stitches, 21.2 stitches. 21.2 inches from here to here is what that should be. But that's not what it is. That's not what it is. This is actually, in reality, from here to here, 22.5 inches. Even though it shouldn't be. It should be 21.2, but it's not. It's 22.5. So the only logical conclusion that I can draw from that, I know you're all thinking, especially Toni is probably thinking, the only logical conclusion is you did something wrong. It's really not that inconceivable, is it? Is it? Yes, it is. The only logical conclusion to draw from that, because numbers don't lie, 18 count, 382 stitches, it's supposed to be 21.2, but it's 22.5. So the fabric itself must be slightly off, right? That's the only thing that could possibly be true, is that it's not exactly as it should be. And if each one is just a little bit off, you get down almost 400 stitches down and you're off by about 1.5 inches, which makes complete perfect sense because I cut this based on it being 21.2, but it's 22.5. So I'm missing an extra 1.5 inches that I was expecting to get if this was actually what it was supposed to be, which all fell into place and made total sense. So it wasn't because I did something wrong. It wasn't because I did something wrong at all. I ranted and mentioned all this ranted about this to Jacob. And this is why Jacob's king. All right, I said it. This is why Jacob is the king, because I said that to him about my measuring woes. And do you know what he said to me? Jacob, I don't know if I'm telling tales out of school here, but I'm going to tell you anyway. Jacob told me that he doesn't measure his fabric when he starts a project. He counts the stitches. He counts the stitches. And when he told me that, my first reaction was like, get the hell out of here. You're going to count 382 stitches one by one. You're going to count the stitches. My first reaction was like, come on. Like, I've never had a problem with this before, and I've always measured and it's always been fine. Like, you're going to count all the stitches. But then the more that I thought about it, I thought, that's brilliant. That is a much better way to do it. And this is why Jacob is Jacob. Because I think I'm going to do that from now on. The more that I thought about it, I thought this freaked me out enough to know that, like, even though I've never had a problem with fabric being slightly wrong before, here it is. Here's evidence of it right here that it can happen. But if I had counted those stitches, yes, there's 382 of them. Okay, I know how to count to 382. If I had counted them first, then that it wouldn't have mattered, because I would have been confident that all of the stitches had been there. And I know that I've said this before, that when I'm working on really huge things, it terrifies me to think that I'm going to get down to the bottom after working on it for sometimes years and realize that I cut it or measured it wrong and it's not going to fit. I wouldn't have to worry about that if I counted the stitches. The measurements wouldn't make any difference, because I know that many stitches are already there. Doesn't matter what the measurements are. That's brilliant. That's absolutely brilliant. Fuck you. Anyway, all that aside, I'm not sure how interesting that was to anybody except me. The lengths that I will go to prove that I didn't make a mistake. But this is super fun. This is gorgeous. I'm at the bottom. I've only got November and December left. I'm currently in October. This is October section. I'm caught up for real now. I'm not even just like, hey, I'm pretty much caught up. I'm caught up. There is absolutely nowhere to go. I don't have November section yet because it's not November, and I cannot work on this again until November. I am caught up, and that's really exciting, right? Right? All right, I think that's it for the whips. Last week I whined and complained about not getting any happy mail and any presents in the mail. That was, by the way, a joke. I was joking about that. I'm serious when I say that you really, as much as it's appreciated, you really don't have to send me anything. But I whined about not getting anything, and then this time I got stuff. So let's do our thing. Last time I whined about not getting mail, and this time I got mail. A lovely and amazing viewer of mine named Teresa sent me a whole package full of stuff. It never gets old. I'm not even sure I have everything right in front of me, but it was so much fun to open, and stuff that, like, here, I'll just show you. There's should be this really long, fantastic note too. I love getting this stuff. I love reading the notes. I always say, you don't have to do that. You don't have to do that, but it is fun. Like stuff that I don't even know. Like I never knew stuff like this existed. This stuff called Magic Thread Conditioner. Because I guess because I complain that I get knots sometimes and tangles, and like maybe this stuff will help. I'm not really 100% sure what this is or what it's used for, but I'm gonna try it, whatever it is. I didn't try it yet because I don't know. I got this, like, you know, sometimes I keep stuff unused until I show it here. I don't know why. It's not like it's any different if I just take it out and tell you what it is. But anyway, Thread Magic Thread Conditioner. I'm excited to try that. This cool little looking thing, which I had no idea what it was at first, and thank goodness she wrote a note explaining what everything is, because I'm like, what is this? A little, like, what even is this? But you pop it out like this, and it's an ort jar, which is perfect because the ort jar that I've been using is like really getting stuffed full, and like, you know, like you can always fit one more thread in there, can't you? But it's getting to the point where no, I really can't. So I'm really happy to have this. This is really cool. I love this. Look. She also sent, if Stitch Lady Melissa did her thing, then she probably already talked about this, but tiny scissors for Melissa, which if she didn't do her segment, she'll probably talk about next time, but just know that she uses those things every single day and absolutely loves them. And Teresa also sent me gold-plated, listen to this, gold-plated needles from, hang on a second, I want to get this right, from the British CrossStitch Guild, which, how fancy is that? And like, you wouldn't think, maybe you would think because you're all like, you try new things and I don't, but so you probably already know this stuff, but I wouldn't have thought that using a different needle, it's the same size as the needles that I normally use, but I wouldn't have thought that using a different needle would make that much of a difference. But does it ever make that much of a difference? Holy smokes. I can't even explain what or why, but the difference between the British gold-plated needles and the needles that I bought from Michael's is so dramatic that, like, I'm not even sure I can go back now. I was going to show you one because I've been using it for Alice, and I just happened to notice that like it's not there. Ruh-roh, where'd my needle go? Maybe it's stuck in Melissa's pillow. I'll find it before she gets home. But so like I don't have it right here in front of me. But just picture a gold needle. Really fancy, really like I wish I could even explain why it's different and what like it feels different. It's easier to use. It's just nicer in every single way. Like I am so in love with these British gold needles. Thank you so much. Also, where did it go? I lost it. No, it's right here. Michael from Star Parade sent me, look at this. He made this needle minder that is also a bottle opener. How perfect is that? This is maybe the best thing, most personalized. Look, it even says Darcy's companion. It says so right on it. Oh, I was so happy to get this. Anything to make cross-stitching and beer drinking easier. I always appreciate. And now, look, we're all here in one device. Something that helped me stitch and helped me get drunk. I love it. I love it. I love it. Thank you. Here, I've been fidgeting around with it. I haven't really shown you like what it actually. Look at that. Isn't that cool? Darcy's companion. Look, it's got this thing on it so I don't drop it. I love it. I love it. Thank you, Michael. You really don't have to send me stuff, even though I'm going to whine if you don't. Okay, so I was also going to do a really quick, sort of abbreviated Ask Me Anything segment this week, because I only have one question that I might have more questions than that, but I only have one that I remember. And I did write it down, but I obviously didn't write it down in my book. So I don't have the person who asked me, and I don't even have the correct wording of the question. I just kind of remember what it was, and like it just feels like kind of a mess. Like not that that's anything new for me, but like maybe I'll have more next week, or something a little bit better planned for the question that I got. It was along the lines of like somebody just, if you're the one that asked me this, sorry that I wrote it. I did. I told you I wrote it down, and I did write it down, but I didn't write it down right here. And this is what I have in front of me. But it was along the lines of like, you know, putting stuff in the Q-snap and rolling it up all nice, and like, you know, how do I I feel like I don't know if I've answered this before. I know I've had questions about Q-snapping before, and like I've never like done my Q-snap demonstration of what a mess it is trying to get them in here, but like maybe I'll do that next time, or at least have a better answer planned out. But if you're the one that asked me that, I didn't forget. I just am not going to do it. So I think that's pretty much it. A couple of like noteworthy upcoming plans. I'm going to tell you this just to like, for my own sake, to hold myself to it and give you something to look forward to too. For the next 2 weeks, here's my plan for the next 2 weeks. It's right here, right in front of me. This and this. That's it. I have no desire to do anything else for the next at least 2 weeks except this and this. So both of these things, very excitingly for me anyway, both of these things, the next time I sit here, should have a lot of really noticeable progress. I'll be really disappointed if this page isn't finished, and maybe even more than that. And this is going to be moved over and worked on over on this side, and I'm really excited to get back to these, and only these, for at least 2 weeks. So that's what I'm doing until at least November. In November, my birthday's in November, November 2nd. Yay! Happy birthday to me in like 10 days. I'm almost 40. 39 on my birthday. I'm not almost 40. I'm almost 39. Everybody relax. Anyway, I might start a new thing on my birthday, because I've got this right here ready to go. This is a really huge, full-sized Heaven and Earth that I've talked about a few times. Advice from a Caterpillar. I might start that on my birthday as a birthday present to myself, because I've got it all ready to go. I've also been talking about and really wanting to start this. Where is it? There it is. Spirits of the Dead, another Jacob pattern. And I was sort of like, you know, when and why am I going to do that? Betsy, for her birthday is also in November, and she is doing a stitch along for her 60th birthday called #BetsyIsOld. And she's got a pattern picked out like for the stitch along, but also, you know, just sort of says you can just do whatever you want. And I want to do that. So I'm going to save that and I'm going to do that for Betsy's birthday and start that for the Betsy is Old Sal, because it's like, it's about death, which, you know, Betsy is closer and closer to as she gets older and older. So it's relevant, right? Betsy is old. And it's Edgar Allan Poe, who would be like 200 and something years old now. Like, it seems relevant enough that it seems like like something I could legitimately do for the hashtag Betsy is old. So I'm going to save that for that. And that'll be mid-November, Spirits of the Dead. So I've got some, and there might even be more too, because I'm going to finish Deck the Halls and I'm going to be almost finished this right here. So I can squeeze some new stuff in, right? I mean, I do want to get back to these and make some good progress on them, but I could squeeze a couple of new things in. So November might be exciting for different things and new starts. But in the meantime, this and this. The next time I sit here, I am not going to have anything else to show you. So tune out if you want. But this and this. Isn't that fun? All right. So I think that's it. I think that's all I've got. It was fun. I had fun. I hope this was as fun as last time. I was drinking last time and I wasn't drinking this time. I was just drinking my regular coffee. But we don't have to drink to have fun, right? I mean, if that was the case, we might have a serious problem. Don't have to drink. Sometimes it's fun though. So thank you again for watching and for supporting and for all of your love and all of your kindness and all of your friendship and all of your everything. I really, really, really do appreciate it. I might not be Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood, but I have the same. I have the same sentiments. I feel the same love and appreciation that everybody else does, just because I'm ridiculous. So thank you. I hope you have a good couple of weeks. I hope you have a lot of productive stitching, and I will see you on or around my birthday in a couple of weeks. Yay, happy birthday to me. Maybe I'll make a video on my birthday. Wouldn't that be fun? Me. I'll see you then.